Lab. I think we got everything sorted out, but we got Trip here. We just completed a match in his Pick 6 tournament, and figured that we would do a dual commentary, kind of going through the game, which was an epic one with a ton of strategic depth. So I'm very excited to have him on the stream. And before we go any further, Trip, why don't you say a few words about yourself, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hey there. Yeah, I go by Trip, as you mentioned, and I've been playing since pretty soon after it came out. So I think it was last February that I picked it up, and have been playing and enjoying it pretty consistently since then. I took a brief hiatus around the end of last summer, and but I've picked it up again, and I'm looking forward to getting more active in league games. And yeah, I've been really impressed by a lot of the new talent coming in, so to speak. There's a lot of good players at the top, and I think it's a good time to be playing.
All right. So everybody who's watched the stream knows that the Tribe is my favorite squad. What's your favorite squad to play with, Trip?
For tradition's sake, I think I have to go with the Dark Elves, just because I find them to be challenging, but they have a lot of potential for strategic development, and I think it's early on it was kind of a badge of courage to take the Dark Elf team, because they were so horribly mismatched against the Council team back when they first came out, and they've always been kind of a nostalgic pick for me.
Awesome. Yeah, that's I find Dark Elves to be the most consistent squad. They are, at least in my opinion, the least vulnerable to really weird draws.
It's true. They have a lot of flexibility. I think that's also something that's fun with them. Mm-hmm. Almost any hand that you're given, you can kind of create some threats. You can kind of start deploying your equipment. I think that's one of their edges that they have. Okay,
so let's get into this match a little bit. So our match is Council for me versus Team Fortress for you, and we end up on the speed map, which is a very interesting map. I don't think I've really played much of this matchup on this map before this game. Tell me about your thoughts on just the Council versus Team Fortress matchup in general.
Well, I mean, the first thing that one must say about this matchup is it's not a fair matchup. I think it's inherently lopsided towards TF2, as many of the TF2 matchups are. But I think in particular that Spy Archer combo, that particular matchup tilts things really heavily in favor of TF2 in most circumstances. And so I think that's one thing that just stands out a lot about this particular matchup.
So when you go into this matchup, what would be your game plan? Like, what are you looking for to kind of exert your control?
I mentioned this a bit on one of the forum posts, but I think that really for balanced draws and for relatively similarly matched players, I think it's kind of TF2's match to lose. If you have a different opinion on that, please feel free to counter. But I think that it's something where it kind of takes a little bit of effort to blow this one, unless something goes wrong, either with luck or with a huge blunder. Mm-hmm. Both of which ended up, I think, playing a factor in this particular match, as we'll see. But I think as TF2, you have to kind of go into it looking to develop, looking to get your units out, and prevent medic sniping. I think it pretty much comes down to that, and not let Council get a rush on your crystals either. I think those are the big two weapons that Council has. Is that they do have some effective snipers. I mean, the Archer is one of the best snipers in the game. An equipped wizard can do wonders, and they also, if they get a jump on the crystals, they can of course start an assault that is impossible to stop. And so I think both of those are the two ways that Council can really scare TF2 here. But if TF2 can prevent those two things from happening, I think they kind of have this one going their way as far as just the matchups of the units themselves.
Okay, and from the Council side, a lot of it is just the converse of what you mentioned. I think you're dead on. The spies for Council are just very, very difficult to
brutal.
To deal with. Spies can only be hit in melee range, and so the main tools, main offensive units for Council are your wizards and your archers. Both are ranged units And the archers even do half damage in melee range, so they're particularly poorly equipped to deal with the spies. Really, your best bet against the spies are the ninjas and the infernos, because the infernos do 350 damage. That's more than half of the life of a spy, and so if you're able to use the inferno maybe in conjunction with like a well-placed knight or something, that can sort of take those down. And once you get the spies off the board, then maybe your splash damage with the wizards, or maybe the archers or the ninjas are going to start to have better board control. But with the spy, the ability to block range attacks 2 units behind the spy, it's really the centerpiece of this matchup for Council, and it's one of the top targets that I want to be looking to deal with in this matchup. The other thing, obviously, is medics. If you can take out medics in this matchup for Council, it's just really, really great, because once one is down, the other one can't be healed, and it's either got to be saved through respawn tokens, or once both of them are gone, then really it's just a matter of, can you hold out against a YOLO offense, so to speak, where once the units are down, they're down for TF2. So with that stage set, let's jump into the actual start. So I'm not sure exactly what my I'm not sure what my total initial hand was, but I drew 2 wizards and a knight here, which is it's not the most glorious starting hand, but it's not that terrible either. Wizards are definitely something that I'm going to be wanting to upgrade, and getting them up near the speed tile is going to be pretty nice as well. And I certainly am going to feel comfortable dumping a sword onto a wizard in the coming move. So it's, I'd love to have like an archer out maybe to sort of deter early aggression onto this sword tile, but at the same time, a wizard does a decent job, and I'll be able to at least keep the flow going. Because really, the thing that's scary is if you get into a situation where you have a bunch of items and the units that you have on the board are not the ones that you want to spend the items on. But at least here, yeah, I don't have my ideal composition, but I at least have a path forward. So I'm not going to be put in a situation where I'm going to be stuck swapping tiles or having to alter my game plan based on an unfortunate draw. And so you see at the end of my first move here, I end up with 2 swords, 2 shields, a scroll, and a knight, and I move the bottom wizard forward. Even though this attack tile is very far forward, I find that the speed tile is the most dangerous tile on this map. Just because if you can get a power unit on that tile, you basically cover the entire board, and if you really want to suicide that unit on the speed tile for any unit of the opponent, generally you're going to be able to get a trade that is at least equal, and so obviously I can't take that for myself right now, but I at least want to defend against it. So that's why I'm bringing the wizard up. So now let's swap over to your opening move, and you've brought the spy out, and you've brought 2 soldiers. And I don't have the screenshots from your hand, but you can tell us what can explain the move for everybody.
Yeah, so I started with those 2 soldiers and a spy, as well as a sniper, a sandwich, and a respawn. So I think for TF2, that's a solid opening hand. You get some offense on there. You get the spy up front to act as kind of blocking things out. I think that it was a kind of a standard opening for both of us, given the tiles that we had. So I think you're absolutely right about the speed tile and the importance of that tile. This is the newest map, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's the one that I've certainly had the least experience with overall, and I can definitely think back to a number of times that speed tile has caught me sleeping, so to speak. And I think that it certainly is the crux of this particular map, and making sure that you don't cede control of that tile, which gives the other player access not only to the attack tile, but to the 2 crystal assault tiles, is pretty huge. So I kind of deployed just looking for access to both of those key tiles, the soldier up top being able to get over to the attack boost pretty easily, and then making sure that I didn't give up threats or defense down below as well.
Yeah, I think it's also excellent just that you're using the spy with a range 3 unit behind it, because I'm not going to have access to take that out, and it's really a potent combo on this map. You've got a lot of attack threat thanks to the speed tile, because if that spy can go to the speed tile, it's basically got coverage on almost 3/4 of the board, and I can't advance forward either, because your ranged unit behind it is going to be able to push anything that I put on that tile away, in addition to the spy being the offensive threat that it is on its own.
It kind of acts as a kind of a permanent sandwich effect right there, just giving that spy so much defensive protection there. It kind of makes this range of threats that it's really hard to penetrate. So yeah, I agree. It's a good spot to camp a spy for a while.
Yeah, and God forbid it getting an actual sandwich on that tile too.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on to my next move. And so I certainly don't have any immediate offensive options here. So what I want to do is I want to double down on defending against this speed tile. So I'm going to put a sword and a shield on my wizard. I'm also going to bring up my other wizard here off of the deploy tile, but no further. And basically, I'm turning cards, and I'm also establishing a board presence here. This wizard is a decent threat to this spy, because the Inferno plus the plus 1 hit from a wizard that is sorted will actually take out the spy. And if I'm able to get either a cheap respawn token usage or just 1 spy off the board early on, then that's going to be a big boon for me in the early game. Additionally, I haven't seen a medic yet, so you never know how lucky you're going to get with Team Fortress, or you never know how lucky you're going to get against Team Fortress, and as Team Fortress, you never know how unlucky you're going to get. And so I see no medic, and I'm like, maybe if I have the opportunity to, drop in some lightning bolts on your army there, maybe your medic will be buried, and I'll be able to take advantage. And having that wizard, again, it's the same dynamic. You've got this high offensive potential threatening from this speed tile, but I've also got the same thing on my end, because I've got this wizard that can do a ton of damage, especially combined with the scroll. Just 1 tile away from the speed, or one move away from the speed tile. So neither of us are probably really that comfortable with the current arrangement. Sort of a knife
Just
fight
building
here.
up tension there.
Yeah, where it's like trench warfare almost. And I'm moving the knight out to buffer for this wizard, and that has 2 effects. One, you always want to be safe from the spy. If I don't have this backside of the wizard blocked off, then the spy can come up on this speed tile and move here, drop 2 handy knives in the back of my wizard, and then escape happily back to the speed tile himself. So I don't want to do that. Got to be safe against that. And also, it helps protect me, because if this soldier comes forward and was going to attack this wizard and I didn't have anything here, then my wizard would be knocked back away from the speed tile, and it would be a lot harder to defend against that. So I'm just solidifying my defense against what you have on the board here. And I'm going to get 3 cards turned here, so let's see what those ended up being. So no more units, which is a little bit of a bummer. But I do get a potion, so I'm not totally defenseless against like a YOLO soldier coming up and dropping down this wizard. And I also get the Inferno, so I've got some very potent offense going on here. I basically get my full array of offensive arsenal available to me. So that's going to be pretty nice, and I may be looking to use that, because putting the remaining swords and shields on this other wizard isn't ideal, and definitely is never going to happen on this knight. So I may need to get some offense going in order to turn some more cards in the next turn. But that's going to be dependent on what you set up in the next turn. And
here we go.
And here we go.
So
Tell me about this move.
initially we've built up some tension. We both have some threats, and then I managed to let us relieve some of that tension there. So yeah, if this were chess notation, this move would have been marked with double question marks. This is I kind of hinted at this early. There are some things that TF2 just can't do, and one of those is allow your medic to get sniped. And this is just this was a complete speed move. Blank here. I had looked at the possibilities of the medic getting splash damage. I'd looked at the possibilities of it getting scrolled, and I was going with that. I was looking at the diagonal and thinking, oh, it can't be stomped though. It should be okay. And then of course not thinking about the Inferno combo with all three of those: the speed, the scroll, the Inferno. And it was dumb. So I was turning tiles. I was getting units out. I was feeling pretty good about what I had, and just missed that speed boost threat going to the medic. So everyone should probably be able to see this by now. What's going to happen next? Offensively, I mean, just if we look at some of the other aspects here, I'm kind of loading the board with offense here, which is what, of course, TF2 does so well. The pyro, of course, on the board is something that has to be respected. I brought the medic out. I think if I were looking at this now and I was looking at what should have happened, the medic just shouldn't come out to the board yet. I should have held on to that and moved that TF2 or moved the pyro up, maybe diagonally or down. I think that very simply would have maintained the threats, as well as kept my ability to heal if I needed to pop him out and do some healing without putting him in harm's way. So that was it's just a straight up blunder. There's no other real way to paint that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. And so if we look to my next move, this is basically there's only one move for me here. I did think about it a bunch, but then it's like one of those moves where it's like so obvious, and then you like, am I like overthinking? Is this too expensive? Like you think about it, and then you're like, no, stupid, just do it.
And it is a high price. I mean, make no mistake, it's a high price to pay, no doubt. But it's for that reward. I think, especially with the hand that you had, there's just no other. There's no other way.
Yeah, no. Definitely, the hand certainly sealed it because there really was nothing else for me to do. Maybe if there's like some sort of development option for me and I have some units and some other way to play it, maybe I get like really greedy and think about doing it another way. But yeah, I mean this turns cards and it takes a medic off the board. I mean, who knows where your other medic's going to be in the deck? Like if your other medic is buried in like the last 5, then this could be like a game-winning move on like turn 3.
And you can't pass that up. I think, rule of thumb against TF2, there's very little that one shouldn't be willing to pay to take a medic off the board, especially in the early game. Maybe later in the game it becomes a bit less tempting, but early on, this by rights, if there were any karma, if the random number generator had been smiling on you just a little bit more, that would have been game over.
Yeah.
And I would have felt real dumb, even more dumb.
So just looking at the material, so one of the methods I've used in the past, just for basically a simple way to kind of assess like whether your trade is good, is just simply taking the amount of items you're spending versus the amount of items you're taking off the board. And for me, you can see how expensive this is for me, because I'm going to end up losing my wizard, a sword, a shield, an Inferno, and a scroll, and I'm only going to get a medic out of you. But this is one of the rare times where the medic is just that important.
Yeah,
and taking it off the board, it is really worth the 5 for 1. And so that's a forced move for me, and the forced move for you is I'm assuming, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure you just used the spy to take him off. So I know that I'm going to lose this wizard for free, and this is going to affect my game plan going forward. The rule of thumb is, at least for TF2, if you can get one highly upgraded unit off the board without Girardi, then going forward you can just use the jars on the rest of the highly upgraded units. And so I'm sort of making that part easy for you, but there's just really no other options. So so it's expensive for me, but it's basically a forced move.
You did, however, also take the soldier was lost as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. 5 for 2.
So, which is also a fairly valuable unit for TF2. So it's not as terrible unit to unit loss. But yeah, the medic really is just that valuable, and I was really there was some forehead slapping going on there.
And even better in that I drew a cleric and a wizard, so lots of magic, not so much archers on the board for me, but getting that healer out is nice because that's going to allow me to transition into a standard game going forward. So
quick question. I'm looking at it now and I'm trying to figure out how did the chain go? You scrolled and hit the medic, right?
Yeah, so I think I definitely scrolled and hit the medic because that otherwise the flame strike wouldn't have taken off the board. I think what happened is it went here, here, and then here, which is odd.
Should the Inferno not have taken out because did the last tail of the scrolled bolt hit the spy? I'm just wondering why the spy isn't KO'd now that I look at it.
No, it went to the deploy tile and then it went up and hit the crystal. And then it went to the soldier. And
then back to the soldier. Oh, weird.
Yeah, really weird. I think that the bolt prioritizes
up over,
moving in the direction, then on the same column, and then backwards. So it makes sense that it would go to the crystal. Not really sure why it went to the soldier instead of the sniper. It's kind of odd, but that's what happened.
Anyway.
Yep. So you basically get a forced move here. Tell us about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I moved the spy up, took it out, and I brought in. So the soldier had to die. I had no other medic in hand. I did have. Let's see what I did. What did I have? I had a sandwich, which I believe I then used on the spy. I think that's it's not in my tile next. So I healed up the spy and gave it that extra mobility with the sandwich. Brought out. Second pyro, so I'm still keeping some offensive threats on the board, and remaining in my hand I still got that respawn, the heavy and an engineer. Looking at the respawn, I think one of the mistakes that TF2 players, at least many of the TF2 players I see going around, is wasting those respawns too early. And I think here there was just, even though I do quite like my soldiers, there's just no way to use it there. Given the fact that keeping that second medic alive is now taken the forefront on my priority list. So wherever it is, I've got to dig for that medic. I've got to get him out fast, and I've got to make sure that he doesn't get stomped. And that's pretty much the game for me at this point. If the medic is buried, it's game over for me. If I can't keep him alive, it's game over for me, most likely, unless it's at the tail end of the game and I can push forward with the remaining forces. So at this point, my strategy is very simple. I've got to try to prevent KOs, and I've got to dig for that medic.
Yep. And do you know if you drew it this turn? And also, what about the engineers? Have you gotten any by this round?
I have one engineer in hand at this point. So when you did that KO, I had a pyro, sandwich, heavy, engineer, respawn, and scout. Mm-hmm. So and then I deployed the scout. I pulled him up. I also deployed the second pyro, and I used a sandwich, thus turning 3 tiles, and my medic came up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So keep that in mind.
No, I take that back. The medic didn't come up until the next turn. I take that back.
Gotcha. Okay. Spoilers.
Yeah.
So let's look at my next move here. So I still am going to turn cards here, but basically what I want to do is, now that I've got one medic down, my whole game plan is there's really two strategies that I'm going to try and exploit going forward. One is and you have a lot of units, and this board is fairly spread out, so I want to be attacking. I want to be threatening from 2 sides. I want to be threatening from up here, and I want to be threatening from down here. Because if I can just KO units on either side, then you've only got one medic to go around and try to heal everything, and he's got to move around, and it's going to be tough for you to keep up. So that's one strategy that I want to take advantage. The other strategy I want to do is I want to get a ninja out as fast as possible. And the reason that I want to do that is if I pre-scroll the ninja and then put a sword on it, a ranged attack from that ninja will one-shot that medic, and it's going to just be super hard to keep that medic alive in that scenario, especially with swap and especially with the speed tile. So I am really praying like every single hand, like I want to get this medic out. I want to get this medic out. Or I'm sorry, I want to get this ninja out so that I can kill that last medic whenever it comes out on the board. So I'm gonna hang on to my last sword for a while to see if that combo makes itself available. In the meantime, I just killed a medic. I don't know where that next medic is going to be, so I want to get offense on the board quickly and see if I can get any cheap kills. Because now is like this period of vulnerability. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I've got this window where I might be able to just get a lot of damage. And I gave up a lot of offense to take that medic off the board, so now's my time to try and further tip the scales in my favor by exploiting this advantage that I've sacrificed for. So with that in mind, I'm getting that sword wizard out and just turning 3 tiles, again, locking down the attack tile, sort of with this wizard here, locking down the speed tile with this sworded wizard, and just getting in position to potentially do another big dive in the following turn. And I get a let's see what I get. I get a scroll, and I get a knight, and I get a helm. So no ninja, but the other cards are there. That sword and that scroll are there for that ninja whenever it's going to come. All right. So here you go. Your next turn, you jar my wizard, and you get the engineer out. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, this was the jar. In ordinary circumstances, I think that would have been a hasty use of the Jarate. It's I normally wouldn't dump it on an unarmored, unhelmed wizard like that, but this was strictly speaking just a tiled turn. I just needed to get tiles out. The wizard was, I mean, it is the biggest threat to me on the board, without a doubt. So I don't think it's a wasted jar, but it was definitely something that probably wouldn't have happened if I wasn't in the situation I was. The scout went down to the speed boost tile as kind of running interference. I knew that it would take one more move for you to clear out that scout and then take over the speed boost tile, and so I was kind of just throwing him out there to keep you from running amok, because that speed boost tile is so dangerous. And I put down the engineer to upgrade my pyro, and so I believe I turned 3 tiles, crossed my fingers. Let's see, was that 3? Let's see, so the pyro moved forward. Engineer came out and upgraded the pyro. The scout moved out, and I Jarati'd. So those are the 5. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I turned those. Or is that 3 or is that just 2?
I think that's just 2.
Just 2. Yeah. So I turned just 2.
The engineer and the jar.
Right, which isn't as much as I would have liked, but it does get me down through all but 7 of the tiles. So I was really crossing my fingers, and lo and behold, I did get not only a medic but a second respawn tile. Mm-hmm. So that was this was a very lucky turn for me, and that was when I got to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. Certainly not out of the woods yet, but yeah, that was a big turning point.
Okay, so so this is what I did with my follow-up here, and basically I'm still in the land where you don't have a medic, and I don't know when you're going to get it. And so the thing you do when your opponent doesn't have a medic and you don't know when he's going to get it is you kill stuff and then you run away. So what I want to do is I want to do damage to his units, because that damage may be there for a while. I have no idea when that next medic's going to come, and if that spy ends up getting low, then maybe I kill it with an Inferno later down before he draws the other medic.
Turns out that speed boost tile is great for dealing damage and running away. Away too.
Yeah, that's why you put your wizard there. So what I do is I'm going to attack onto this this soldier, and that soldier then backs up, and further attacks on that soldier then actually chain into the rest of your army. And so they head up towards that sniper. Unfortunately, I do have to run the wizard away. I don't want you to be able to snipe it off at this point. Because it is my best source of damage, and I am in this mode where I've just got to do like as much damage as I can until that medic comes out.
And again, there's still not a whole lot of potential for development in your hand.
Yeah.
So it does kind of make sense to just take some pot shots while you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm saving that sword for the ninja, and really, like, I certainly am not going to put any more upgrades on a Droidied wizard. That's just begging for it to be killed and lose even more. I guess I could think about putting like a sword and a shield on that other wizard, but with the opportunity to do damage to your units without a medic on the board, I mean, come on, that's what I'm going to do.
Yep, no brainer.
Yep. So this next move made me so sad. Like, you have no idea how sad I was. So tell us about it.
So the medic comes out, and I was able to. So that means that I was able to survive that little healerless stretch without losing anything further, and I even kept the little scout alive. So yeah, I brought out the medic, upgraded him with the engineer, and rezzed the scout. I think that was the extent of that turn.
Mm-hmm.
I may have done a little taunting in the chat box. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and unfortunately the viewers aren't going to get to see that because I did the filter on the screenshot, so it's kind of cut out everything that's not part of the board. But scouts are terrifying on this map. You kill anything and you get this scout on the speed tile, and
stomp anywhere.
Yeah, like it covers literally everything other than like these top three squares in the corner, one of which being a deploy tile. So there's nowhere to hide from a scout if you get a unit KO'd anywhere. That is one of the powerful synergies on this map, and something that I think I learned from this game. I need to value the scout a little bit higher, because it later in the game it's gonna create a lot of opportunities that I have to protect against for you. That without that scout, it's just a lot less scary. So
it's one more example of just how everything fits together for the TF2 team so well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the scout is kind of underappreciated to a certain extent because just because of that stomp threat that he brings to the board.
Yep. Okay, so let's look at my next move. So now that medic's on the board, I'd certainly love to kill it at some point.
Really?
But yeah, that's my new game plan. I'm really sad that the medic's there, because my window has closed a lot sooner than I thought it would. But at the same time, now the medic's on the board, and you're going to have to spend the rest of the game protecting it, and it only takes one slip up. So I'm sad, but I'm also happy because you basically, I know that you have to play a perfect game from here on out, and one oversight, and it's basically GG. So with that in mind, I would need that ninja. My whole game plan is ninja scroll, snipe the medic, give you no room for error. And to do that, I need to turn some cards. So I'm going to get my wizard in a little bit of a better position. He's got to be backed by the knight to keep him safe from the spy, and he's helmed to keep him safe from any shenanigans where the soldier comes forward on the attack tile and pokes him with a giant rocket a few times. And that way I turn some cards. I have to keep this wizard back here behind the knight, because one poke from that pyro is going to kill him. But at least if he's on that deploy tile, you have no way to stomp. So he's kind of stuck back there. And I tried to take as an aggressive position as possible, but really I'm turning cards here. That's really all I'm doing. And of course I don't draw my ninja, but I do draw an archer, so that's going to be nice. That's going to help me lock down the attack tile a little bit better, because you get this little nook here behind my top crystal where you can just stick a ranged unit, and with your medic down in the bottom right corner, it's going to be really hard for you to take that attack tile with anything, because that archer can just KO anything, and I really don't have to worry about you getting a medic in range to actually lock that down. If your medic is out that far on the board, he's probably also going to be vulnerable too.
Right.
So now I'm on your turn now. So
So yeah, the you're right that the game essentially comes, can I keep my medic alive for the rest of the game?
Hmm.
And it's this is it turns out this is a tough map to do that on too. Again, because of that speed boost tile and the attack boost up north, there's just no safe corners. It's not like some of those other maps where there's ample hiding spots behind crystals. You could stick the medic way up in the upper right for me, but that's not going to be where the bulk of my units are, and so it'd be essentially useless. So it was a bit of a dilemma. We did joke a bit how with any other team though, getting down to your last healer this early in the game would be game over.
Hmm.
And it really is kind of a TF2 resilience or evidence of that resilience that they're able to remain competitive. And I think that that comes down to the respawn tiles, is that there's just they provide such a buffer against KOs without the stomp, which ordinarily against other teams would mean the end of the game if the last healer was toast. And in this case, it gives me a little bit of a cushion where I can allow my medic to be KO'd as long as there's not an accompanying stomp. So yeah, I continue to move some tiles out. I get my the second spy is out there, and let's see what else is going on here. And then I do some upgrading. So I'm pretty much looking to keep those offensive threats pushing forward. The tide is kind of moving to the left, and just trying to find ways to keep my medic safe there.
Yep. We've definitely got this bottom half of the board really heavily developed, and this top half, you really sort of fortify that. Now with this spy here, it's going to be a lot harder for me to defend against you taking this attack tile eventually, because I can't. There's no longer this threat of me putting the wizard here and raining heck on your units if you get too close, because that spy is not going to have is going to block the line of sight there. The one thing that this does open up for me though is, as I mentioned earlier, you've got this one medic, but you've got like almost two theaters. You got the sort of the attack tile theater, and you've got the speed boost theater, and you've got units in both, but you've only got healer that can occupy one.
Exactly. Yeah.
So really, what I want to do is I don't even need to necessarily attack in my mind. I just need to develop some units up here that can deter you from taking this a little bit more. And if we get into this this kind of snipe fest kind of back and forth where we're kind of KOing units back and forth, I feel pretty good about that sort of game going forward. Now if we look at what I'm going to do with my turn, I am going to get my my archer out here. This turns 2 cards fundamentally. It also locks down this attack tile even better, and it also threatens anything that's not locked down by a spy. So you only get 2 spies, so you can lock down 2 rows from ranged attacks, and so you've done it with the second and fourth tiles here. But that means that this this row and the bottom row, the middle and the bottom rows, are open for stone throwing, shall we say. Additionally, this whole bottom row everything's kind of grouped together. So I want to get that wizard in position to potentially do some damage there, and sort of see if I can push you back a little bit, or at least get better position on the board, while again I'm still turning cards for my ninja. So let's see what I get here. I get another archer and I get a helm. So I'm starting to get really pissed off, because this is like the third turn in a row that I've basically been like explicitly turning cards to get my ninja, and I'm still no closer to that pre-scrolled and sorted ninja than I was 3 turns ago, other than that little 8 sitting by my remaining cards. But regardless, that's how it works sometimes. So I still feel pretty decent about my position. Like my board control is pretty decent. You can't really move forward, and nothing's really like explicitly threatened too badly. Although if you end up getting any of those range 3 units, they can do like the AOE, like the Demo Man or the Heavy. I am starting to get a little clumped up. Like you could see that if you had like a Demo Man, my cleric is like connecting everything.
Right.
So I'm a little bit scared of you getting those units out. But other than that, like we're starting to draw the battle lines pretty clearly here, and I feel decent about it.
Yeah, and those wizards were definitely important to keeping my units kind of confined to those, 3, maybe 4 right columns. Just because I couldn't allow them to get too far into their range where they could start sniping.
So I'm gonna move on to your next turn here.
Yeah.
So let's see. You've got the you move the spy up, and you got the soldier upgraded and forward. I don't know if you've got.
Yeah. So my main motive here was that I needed to get the medic a little bit more exposed without opening him up for attack. And with that archer there, I wanted my medic to be up in the center, right in front of the back crystal. But I certainly couldn't leave that corner gap there for you to run in and scroll kill him potentially. So I needed a way to shut down that spot. Moving the spy straight down was one thing that I considered, but of course that would leave that row up above with the soldier behind it vulnerable. So I needed another option. So I moved that spy up in front of the assault boost and the soldier down, which also gives me the option of popping out with that soldier to attack other units that were on that same row. So I'm looking there to get my medic more centralized so that there's more healing possible. I now can heal more of my units than I could before, while still protecting all of the corners and making sure there wasn't a way for you to sneak in there.
Okay. Let's move on to my next move. And so what I've done here is I have brought my next archer out. I have helmed this archer on the tile there. And I think I also I think I moved my wizard up, and I gave your scout a love tap, and then I moved back.
That's right.
Yeah. So there's a few things that are going on here. The first of which is I need to helm this archer to protect against this this soldier here. If the soldier comes up and pops me in the face a few times, then I'm going to be trading a +1 archer for a soldier, which is not ideal for me. So adding that helm at least will make that require an extra kill. And Team Fortress 2 can't really afford to trade KOs. They really have to stomp, especially against Council, because that is Council's strength. Council's strength is healing the units up very efficiently. And so if you just KO that archer, I'm going to be able to get up to full in 2 AP, and then be able to potentially fire back. And if you leave units KO'd on the board, it's going to be hard for you to recover from that, because you've got that one healer that you've got to both stay mobile with, but also can't leave any openings.
Right.
So
right.
So that's why I've got to helm that archer. But obviously KOing this scout is not a serious threat. He's already in range of your healer. There's only one reason I'm doing that, is because I want to force you to spend the AP healing that scout instead of killing my dudes, because I'm turning 2 cards this round, and I'm still fishing for that ninja. And let's see if I get it. Nope. So I get a cleric and I get a knight. At least it's more units. I'm still fishing for that Inferno as well. That Inferno, with that Inferno, it also opens another potential kill, with the archer basically scroll killing the medic, and then finishing off with the Inferno. But I seriously doubt you would ever let that opening happen. It's a little bit too obvious. It would take a really major blunder for
unless the speed tile were somehow involved.
Yeah, I know, right? Then it could. But regardless, that avenue is not open to me. But at least, yeah, it's more units. It's also a second cleric, which is going to help me feel a little bit more stable, especially if you were to like run in and take the cleric out. Although I think at this point it's not really that much of a threat, because I have so many offensive threats on the board that that doing a drive-by on the cleric is just going to get your dudes killed. So yep, turn tiles and not getting ninjas. That's the story of this game so far for me.
Lucky for me again.
So I moved on to the next turn here.
Okay, so let's see. Is this my move here? So
yeah, this is your move.
So yeah, I shifted a bit here, and I moved my unsandwiched spy down low. And let's see what else. And then I souped up the sniper to give him a little bit more oomph and start to clear off that row. Again, I'm getting a little bit of clumping here. There's not a whole lot more I can do. I don't have either demo min out. In fact, those two are buried both at the very end of my deck. So what I do bring out, I bring out another scout, I bring out another sniper, and then I ubercharge the upper sniper to try and get your archer a little bit leery of staying on that
I think you're
row.
one turn ahead of where I'm at.
Oh no, am I looking at the wrong screenshot?
I think you're one turn ahead.
Gotcha. Okay. So I was looking at mine, and I must have skipped a screenshot when I was.
Yeah, if you look at my screenshots,
Okay, I'm back on
you see it?
So I didn't do much. I healed and I moved my scout.
Okay.
And I brought the other scout out and the sniper. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I think this is a pretty straightforward turn. Not a whole lot going on. I couldn't let the scout die. I needed to bring out some more units, and that's what happened.
Yeah, there's no need to give up units for free, especially when your medic's already in range and you're not under other like dire threats. So let's move on to my response here. I think you took a pot shot at my archer too with that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, this is me turning more cards. I'm bringing the knight up here to the top right because I have nowhere else to put him. Because if I bring him on this square, then you can move the soldier up, hit him twice from the attack tile, which will KO him. Stomp with the scout, and then move your soldier back, or I don't even know what else. But regardless, it's a clearly a winning play for you if that happens. Fortunately, though, I can put this archer here, and even though you can two-shot it with the soldier, he is one range out of stomp with the scout. So the archer is safe, and it's also going to lock down this tile pretty well. But again, main thing here is turning 2 cards because I still want to set up that ninja threat, and I'm starting to get a little bit scared here. One of the things that happens with Team Fortress, and really I think the most powerful way to play this squad, is you just build up so many threats on the board that it's so difficult to keep track of them all, and even the best players are just going to get forced to a mistake because there's something that they overlook, whether it be like a surprise link with a medic to boost the damage of a unit, or like a jar snipe that wasn't expected, or the pyro does something funky, or the soldier just knocks a unit in a way that you weren't expecting, or there's so many plays that are available on the board, especially with that spy that is sandwiched there. One thing that I am really happy about, and I think maybe is something that could have been better for you, is that spy with the sandwich is not upgraded with the engineer, and that's something that made. I'm not sure if it's come into play yet, but I do recall a few times where I kind of got off the hook off some possibilities because that spy never got upgraded.
Hadn't been upgraded. Yeah. And I was conscious of that, but I didn't see an easy way without some really awkward shuffling of getting that spy upgraded. So that was definitely it did come up, as I recall.
So let's see what I draw here. Yeah, no ninja. So third archer and a helm. So now I'm I was pretty tilted already because I think this is like the 5th turn straight that I've been turning cards to get the ninja, and I still don't have it. And so it's like it's one of these games, right?
Yeah.
But at least nothing terrible has happened to me yet. Like, I've been turning cards, but I haven't lost anything. So it's like, okay, well, it hasn't cost me the game yet. Like, there's still everything to play for. Right. But man, I would have loved to put some pressure on that on that medic.
It would have put it already, and there's already some pressure. I mean, I already have to be very cautious about moving any units out for the attack, because almost any unit around the medic that I move can open up a potential avenue for you to attack, especially the ones, that the soldier, for example.
Yep.
With that archer right there, I can't allow that to pop in for the diagonal scroll kill. So it's if the with the scrolled ninja on the board, it would have made that perhaps intractable. There's just no way to keep all those avenues locked down. So here, this was what I was talking about before. Clearly, I've healed up that sniper and uber charged him, and then let's see what else is going on there compared to the previous turn.
See a bunch of snipes.
Yeah, I think I took some damage off your archer, and I think that may have been it. Is there anything else that I missed going back and forth? Since I'm missing a screenshot, it's hard for me to...
Yeah, I think you basically you healed up your sniper, you linked him, you did 2 snipes, and there's a missing AP somewhere. And I don't know where it is.
Maybe an upgrade? Did I? Oh,
yeah, you upgraded the sniper. Yeah, you upgraded the sniper. So this presents a dilemma to me, if I recall. I'm not sure about the exact math, but I think that there is some way where, with the upgraded sniper that was linked, it was like a shot with that, and then moving the soldier forward ended up being a 3 AP kill on my archer.
What I was aiming for there, yeah.
Instead of before, if it was just the soldier, it would be a 4 AP.
Right.
So
and
let's
I'm
see what
rarely
I
a
did
fan
about
of
that.
relying too heavily on the sniper, but I think there was a particular threshold that was crossed there.
Yeah.
And against a lesser opponent, that might have worked too. But clearly,
clearly
you did the math.
I spent a lot of time on this game because at this particular point in time, I think I was like 3-0, and you were 3-0, and Monkey Warlock had like no games played. And so I was like, okay, if I want to get into the finals, I either have to win this one or I have to beat Monkey Warlock. And I'm playing against Monkey Warlock's tribe with Dark Elves, and it's just like not a matchup I'm confident in. So I was like, okay, I've got to win this game. Unfortunately, when we get close to the end, by that point, the way it had worked out, like the tiebreakers, it kind of made this those 2 games irrelevant. Like I was gonna go through to the final one off of the tiebreakers no matter what. So it dropped the pressure down a little bit. But at that point, like the game got so crazy that my pride just refused to let me to give up too easily. So let's see what I did here. So I healed up my my 2 dudes down here, and I kind of swapped positions because of that combo, where I don't want to lose that archer. Additionally, I'm setting up a threat on the medic here because the archer to the speed tile and then to here leads to a scroll kill and stomp on the medic, assuming you don't do anything, which is so obvious that I'm sure you're going to do something about it, but I want to at least force you to deal with that threat as opposed to killing my dudes, because I'm still turning cards to get the ninja. And I plant, I turned 1 card. What did I turn here? I turned a helm. What did I put it on? Oh, I put it on the other archer. Yeah, on the archer there. So so my theory is I want to split the upgrades as much as possible, because I had to lose that sorted unit earlier on. If you jar the last sorted unit that I put on the board, then at the very least I'll have 3 other units with defensive upgrades that are going to be tough to kill, and I'm thinking that this is going to come down to like a KO fest. And in that case, having a lot of tough units to kill is gonna help me trade well. It's not gonna come down to like one big offensive move necessarily, unless it's gonna be like a medic kill. But really, keeping my unit safe and turning another card. And what do I get? I get a shield. So more tears, more council tears for me. No ninja buried in my last 3 cards, and I'm thinking, how am I going to keep this going without losing anything serious? Because there's been really no action in like the last 5 turns. It is just it's been one giant arms.
Waiting for the ninja also locks up that last sword and scroll for you, which is also a bit of a problem.
So let's I've got your next move here on the board.